Hello! Today we're going to be learning about carboxylic acid derivatives and their reactions with alcohols, also called alcoholysis or esterification. So let's get started. So we're going to start off with acid chlorides and anhydrides. Now these both are done under the neutral mechanism. And so let's start off with some acid chlorides. So, or acid halides, but let's do some acid chlorides because we always love chlorine. Now let's add a base. Let's say actually, you know what? We're just going to put an R group prime, OH. This nucleophile will attach to carbon, so we'll have a partial positive, partial negative, and partial negative. So the nucleophile we would probably consider to be this, whereas the H would be this if we remember our neutral mechanisms for carboxylic reactions. And because we can't have 5 bonds on a carbon, this will flip up to the carbonyl oxygen. And so what we will have created will be a negative oxygen connected to a carbon, Cl, R, O, H, and then that R prime. Now we don't like this because that is a positive charge. So what's going to happen is this negative charge will reform a double bond and this chlorine group will leave. We love that. We hate this chlorine group now. Or we don't hate it because it's reactive enough so that we don't have to do this under acidic or basic conditions. We can just sort of plop it in there and it'll be fine. So what will then be created is COH, R prime, and then R. Now this is still positive, and we hate that. So we're going to do an elimination step. We're going to deprotonate this oxygen here. So what's going to happen is the chlorine from earlier, the chloride atom, will still be here, and it has a negative, so it's just going to actually steal this hydrogen, and this oxygen is like, yay, we no longer have to be positive. It's going to be perfect. This is great. Thank you. So now we have O, R, R. Now this, now remember this is, let me do this. Halide. This looks suspiciously like a carboxylic acid. And so this is a great way for you to go from an acid halide and anhydride, we'll do that in a second, to a carboxylic acid. So if you ever need, if you're doing a retrosynthesis thing, you can absolutely use this method to go and to create a carboxylic acid. Now let's focus on the anhydrides now. We're just going to do a symmetrical one because, let's start with the anhydrides. We're just going to do a symmetrical one because we're still working with the basics here. And let's do methanol. So an anhydride. And let's do ethanol. Oh, this isn't, or a methane group, not a methanol. My bad. And so then what is going to happen again is This is going to attack 50-50. It could attack this one. It could attack this one. We're going to have the nucleophile attack. Just as in the acid chloride. And then what we're going to have is now we hate these charges. And so what's going to be the leaving group? This time, the leaving group will be the oxygen, because that's the more reactive between all of these. And so what will be created, it will be OCO. And O. Now we see here, this oxygen needs a hydrogen. This oxygen needs to get rid of its hydrogen. Perfect situation. Perfect situation. They can just swapsies. They swaps, and they do. They go as swapsies, and they make two products. They make a carboxylic acid plus an ester. And so now this can also be, so this method using the anhydrides and reacting it with an alcohol can be used to make a carboxylic acid, as up here, but it can also be made to make an ester down here. Now we can also create esters out of other esters. What we can do is there is a process called trans-esterification, and we can change one of the R groups on the ester to create a new one, whatever one we need. So, because esters aren't quite as reactive as, acid halides and anhydrides, we're going to need an acid or base catalyzed. We're going to do acid catalyzed because I think that's fun. And I'm in control here. Not you, I am. And so what we're going to do is this carbonyl oxygen is going to attack. It's going to flip, creating H2O and methane. Now, here is where we are going to need our alcohol. Let's do ethanol, just to show a different R group. So what we're going to do is this oxygen is going to come and attack here. Put that up. So this is now OH, CO, ME, ME, and then OH, ET. Now this is again a plus, but this H2O from up here will say very happily, hey, you took my hydrogen, I'm taking it back. It won't say that, but it will be close. And so what will be created will be OH, CO, ME, O, ET, ME. But it doesn't stop there. No, this seems like a fairly stable molecule, but it doesn't stop there. Because this H3O comes back into play and says, never mind, actually, I want to give this hydrogen to you. Which then creates, and you're saying, wait, this is just a whole bunch of protons moving, this is just a whole bunch of, yes! Yes, it is. Let's create O, H, C, O, M, E, H, O, E, T, M, E. Now again, we hate this positive charge, so where's it going to go? It's just gonna leave. It's just gonna leave. It doesn't like being here, and now we've sort of shuffled our protons around enough that like no one can really, everyone has a proton, or everyone has had the proton, and so now it's just O, H, C, O, E, T. So the new R group, OR group. Or, not plus. This has a negative bond. We really, really hate carbons with a negative bond. So what this will do is it will let go of the hydrogen, or it won't let go of the hydrogen. The oxygen will form another double bond, and the H2O that has been made, which I'll write in a second, we'll take that hydrogen. So this will create O, C, O, E, T, M, E, plus H3O. So now we have, plus H-O, M-E. Now moving on to nitriles. This, I think, is the easiest one. Amides and nitriles. Because these have the exact same mechanism. And I'm actually just going to show them to you right now, both on the same. See, let's just do NH2 and methane and boop, and methane again. So again, because amides and nitriles aren't as reactive as your, acid halides and anhydrides, this is going to need to be catalyzed in some way. So let's just do acid catalyzed again. And what this is going to do, here, let me, amide, nitrile. So what these are going to do is nothing. These just will do nothing, which is great, which is easy. So if you see this problem, you just write the initial thing again. You just say it has no reaction, and that's alcoholysis. Have a great day.